go in this 2011 NASCAR Nationwide Series season, and just 15 points separate the top two drivers in the championship. But today is also about another number. How about this one? 520. When Kenny Wallace takes the green, he will officially become the all-time starts leader in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. 520 starts, and it all started back in 1988. We know that he is certainly ready to get it going. So let's go trackside.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats as the 3rd Mission Command Training Group, 75th Mission Command Training Division out of Fort Sill, Oklahoma, presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Texas Alliance Raceway Ministries' Dr. Roger Marsh offers today's invocation.
Heavenly Father, on this beautiful day that you've given us here at the Great American Speedway, we want to pause and acknowledge your presence and your power. And Father, being mindful of the cost of freedom, we lift up our military personnel around the world and ask for their protection. And Father, as we turn our attention to today's NASCAR Nationwide Series race, we thank you for the teams, the sponsors, and the fans, and we ask you to protect the competitors. In Jesus' name I pray it. Amen.
And here to perform our national anthem, please welcome country recording artist Brandon Ryder.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Carl Edwards in this one is the winner of the last two at this track. Elliott Sadler starts on pole. Denny Hamlin in the 18 car today for a parked Kyle Busch. This race usually plays out in favor of Cup regulars, but with the championship on the line, will that change today? Elliott Sadler's your pole sitter. We are about to find out when we go green. Coming up next from Texas Motor Speedway.
NASCAR Nationwide Series at Texas is brought to you by Nationwide Insurance. Enter this code at codespotter.com for a chance to win one-of-a-kind NASCAR VIP experiences. And Uloric. For more information, visit uloric.com.
Back at Texas Motor Speedway, you know the phrase, everything is bigger in Texas? Well, that applies to the Nationwide Series too. Carl Edwards has won 2 straight, but there are 15 points between our top 2 championship contenders. How will that play out? Patrick also makes her full-time series debut today. And oh, by the way, some big news. Kyle Busch was supposed to be in this race, but because of an incident last night in the Truck Series, Kyle Busch has been parked by NASCAR, which means the 18 car today, which qualified second and will go to the back of the field because of a driver change. Denny Hamlin will race the 18 car today. Marty Reed. So much to talk about as we kick off this third to the last race of the season.
Absolutely, Nicole, and hello again, everybody. And you've documented what happened with Kyle getting parked for the weekend, but let's talk about the fact that between he and Carl Edwards, they've won the last 7 nationwide races here at Texas. Kyle won 5 of them. So who does this open the door for, Andy Petrie?
Well, I think it might open the door for the guy that's getting in the 18, Denny Hamlin. He's driven this car about 6 times. He's got 2 wins in it, so we know how good the car is. We know how good Denny is at this track. So I think Denny Hamlin is a good shot to win here.
Well, but the one drawback there, remember the last time that he subbed for Kyle when Kyle had the flu in October of 2009 in California? Denny crashed. Who do you like?
I think it opens the door for Elliott Sadler, who's been trying to win one of these races all year long. I think that he's looking at this as an opportunity that maybe Carl Edwards is one of those, not discounting what Denny Hamlin can do, but it's going to be difficult getting in there without any practice. So I think Elliott looks at this as a great chance to get maximum points today.
Well, we talked about how this is such a great championship battle. Let's show you the graphic and show you just how tight it is. Now, because of the tiebreaker, Sadler has to score 16 more points than Stenhouse over the last 3 races. And look at this. Each of them has scored 333 points on the mile-and-a-half tracks. But, and you heard Elliott, if you were with us for Countdown, there is one new element in their camp.
Yeah, they finally got a car built at RCR where they're going to be next year from their fab shop, and that's not saying anything against Kevin Harvick's teams. They've done a great job, but this is a little better car. Talked to Chris Carrier, who's the crew chief for Clint Boyer in that camp, and he said this car is just a little bit better that Elliott has, and so it could make the difference in this championship, and especially today, Dale, and maybe him chance for him to win this race.
Yeah, I talked with Elliott last night and this morning. He was very excited about this car. He said it's allowed them to do some things different that they've known they've needed to do to make the handling better and to challenge people like Carl Edwards and Kyle Busch. So they're really excited today.
All right, well, it's time for us to go trackside to get today's race started.
And now, race fans, for those most famous words in motorsports, here to give the command, please welcome your Grand Marshal, Store Manager of Discount Wheel and Tire, Todd McDonald.
Drivers, start your engines.
Fired up. Should be good there.
Started.
Definitely side to side there. Should be pretty good, really. Do I roll forward?
So the engines have come to life on the 43 cars that will take the green flag in just a matter of moments here, with 3 races remaining in the 2011 NASCAR nationwide season. And of course, the man that's going to be our in-race reporter is the driver of that number 33. That'll be Clint Boyer. He's coming off back-to-back third-place finishes in the series back at Bristol and again at Dover. We'll talk to him when we come back. It's another beautiful day here at Texas Motor Speedway, the Great American Speedway, as we're getting ready for the race to begin. The cars are just pulling off the pit road area, and let's show you the starting field across the top of your screen. 5 cars did not make the field, including Eric Darnell, Mark Green, Matt Carter, Johnny Chapman, and Dennis Setzer. 2 cars are going to go to the rear. You already know the 18, Kyle Busch, driver change. Denny Hamlin will start in the back, and TJ Bell had unapproved adjustments. Let's talk to our in-race reporter. That's Clint Boyer. Dial him up, DJ.
Hey, Clint Boyer, Dale Jarrett, ESPN. You have a copy?
I got you, buddy.
All right, our first question comes from our mailbag, and Ben, maybe he's been watching you race here, though, Clint. He says, with limited past success at this track, will competing in the Nationwide Series race today help you as you go for the victory tomorrow in the Sprint Cup Series?
Yeah, I hope so. Always a fun racetrack, very, very fast, fun to race on, challenging. Always got to keep up with your car all day long, and certainly racing, this type of race car, this new style of race car with a Rheem Chevrolet on the Nationwide side will help me towards tomorrow. Absolutely.
Hey, Clint, you talked about the speed and the challenges of this racetrack. Can you tell our viewers where probably the most challenging part of this track is with these Nationwide cars with the limited amount of horsepower?
Just making it faster than these other lunatics out here.
Hey, was your car pretty good? What you thought in practice yesterday, good enough to win?
Yeah, I do. I really think the track widened out a little bit in that cup practice as it's taking rubber on the bottom. It's going to be interesting to see, with the limited horsepower these Nationwide cars have, you can run that outside and make it work. It's all about momentum on these big racetracks, and hopefully we can keep Mo on our side all day.
All right, Clint, thanks for talking with us. Good luck. Now, Andy's going to talk to your crew chief, Chris Carrier.
How about it, Chris Carrier, Andy Petrie in the booth? You have us?
Loud and clear, Andy. How you guys doing up there? You enjoying this beautiful Texas weather?
Oh, you bet, man. It's beautiful. Hey, I know you raced last night, got the win with Kevin Harvick in the truck race. What did you learn? What kind of tricks did you learn last night that's going to help you win this one?
Well, we found out with our truck last night, the 2 truck, that seemed like left side tire pressure was pretty critical, pretty sensitive, more so than right side tire pressure for what we were fighting. So that may or may not play into today's race. It is the same left side tires we ran last night, but our trucks got pretty loose last night. I don't think that's quite going to be the case today, but we think we're pretty good. We know Clint's going to got a good piece here today, I think.
Okay, Chris, put you some sunscreen on. Have a good race. Good luck.
Too late for that.
All right, let's check on the other onboard cameras. You know we have one with Clint Boyer, but also with Elliott Sadler and Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the 2 going for the championship. Danica Patrick, as well as the 18 with Denny Hamlin, Justin Allgaier, Stephen Wallace, Eric Almirola rounds out the onboard field. Let's check in on pit road. And Vince, what do you have for us?
Well, Marty, with the hint of what was to come, Denny Hamlin was in the 18 Nationwide garage about 7:45 this morning trying to get fitted for Kyle Busch's seat. He says it's not perfect, the vision to the right a little bit restricted, but what might be more of a factor today is the feel that Hamlin wants in the car, and that balance is different than what Kyle likes. That could be the bigger issue as Hamlin tries to come from the back of the field today. Dave Burns?
They say everything's bigger in Texas. Well, that may not hold true for the size of the pit boxes here on pit road. Crew Chief Adam Stevens for Joey Logano told me this morning they're among the smallest that they race in. So he was ecstatic when yesterday Joey qualified his car 3rd. That gave them an early pick on the 6 pit stalls on this pit road that have a gap either before or leaving. They'll have an easy exit from their pit stall today and hopefully give Joey his first win in the Nationwide Series here at Texas Motor Speedway. Dr. Jerry Punch?
Well, Dave, let's compare the knowns and unknowns for Ricky Stenhouse. We know he has a 15-point lead with 3 races to go. We know at the age of 24, he's never experienced this kind of pressure in his professional career about trying to win a championship. And what we don't know is, will that pressure make him make a major mistake, either on the racetrack or on pit road? And what Mike Kelly wants to know, his crew chief, is if he does make a mistake and gets back in the pack, will he lose his cool? You know what can happen then? Or will he maintain his composure and continue to chase that championship? Jamie Little.
Well, aside from being focused on getting his first win in the season and perhaps winning his first ever NASCAR championship, Elliott Sadler's thoughts are at home. His wife Amanda is due any minute with their 2nd baby. But so far for Elliott Sadler this weekend, it has been perfect timing. He's on the pole for the 5th time, and he's in an RCR-built car that he says is one of the best he's had all year. Marty?
Thank you, Jamie. Let's quickly check our Goodyear track facts. 24-degree banking, DJ.
Yeah, and that goes away quickly on the exit of turns 2 and 4. That's where the real trouble spots.
All right. You see Elliott Sadler as pole sitter has selected the high side. Maybe a little bit of strategy, perhaps, because remember, the 18 car went to the rear, which if he'd have taken the inside, the 6 car, Stenhouse, would have been right next to him. Instead, he'll start behind him. Lights are out on the pace car. You can hear the crowd. They're coming to their feet. They're excited. 3 races to go in the 2011 season. Pace car pulls down. Elliott Sadler brings him down the front straightaway. Flagman has the flag in hand. And we're getting ready here at Texas Motor Speedway. And the O'Reilly Auto Parts Challenge is green. One car sliding way high on the track. The 22 of Brad Keselowski. Whoa, and a basic move.
Eric Almirola just about lost it right there.
On board with Eric. That's Brian Vickers right in front of him in the 32. Coming down to complete lap number 1. It will be the 2 of Elliott Sadler with Boyer, Logano, Stenhouse, Edwards, and Scott.
That's an all-important point for Elliott Sadler. He's going to try to lead the most laps here if he can make that happen today. Get as many points as he possibly can.
Let's show you back what happened to the 22 of Brad Keselowski on the start.
It's just coming off turn 2 in traffic.
All of a sudden, we switched the camera there. Hold on, we'll get back to it as soon as we can. Here it is. It's already up high. And there goes, oh, wow, the evasive move by Almirola.
Yeah, got 3 and 4 wide there quickly, and Almirola had to really turn hard left. That kicked the back end out. Made a nice save, though.
Keselowski drops from 6th to 13th because of that slip. And here we go, coming through the corner again, on board with our race leader, Elliott Sadler. Right behind Clint Boyer, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is now in 3rd. Carl Edwards has moved up to 4th. Oh, trouble. Whoa, look out, coming across. And we've got yellow out on the track as Jamie Dick goes for a slide. Manages to keep it off of the wall.
Save. Good save. All right, guys, let's get ready. We're going to put tires on.
Yeah, that was a good save. You can see tire marks come all the way off turn 4 down through the grass, and he got lucky that he had some pavement right there at the start-finish line to help him complete the save.
He was running 32nd at the time. Let's go back and show you.
Basically just loses it. As you can see right here, all the way through the grass. He gets over here across a little quarter-mile section, and then he had this pavement to help save it. Good job.
And this is exactly what we're talking about, where this track banking falls off away from you quickly. You get to that 5 degrees of banking on the straightaway. Not much there to help you, but he does a nice job with this save.
So as our first caution comes out, and you see the 52 making his way down pit road, we'll quickly step aside and come back with Elliott Sadler leading Clint Boyer and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. here at Texas.
Now hard to reach is never out of reach. The next generation Craftsman Auto Hammer. A new articulating head. Superior access. Only Sears has over 25 Next-Tech tools now all on sale. Craftsman. Trust in your hands.
When it's your meal ticket. When it's your statement. Protect it with Prestone. Engineering lasting relationships between cars and owners since 1927. When you own it, Prestone it.
It's been a crisp, cool morning every day that we've been here in Texas, and the sun has been shining oh so brightly. It's warmed up. It's going to go about to 70 degrees today, and yes, we're in the land of oil and longhorns and 1.5 mile high-banked ovals as we are under our first caution here at the O'Reilly Auto Parts Challenge. And make sure to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. Completed 6 of the 200 laps. We showed you what happened to the 22. Let's take you back one more time, and we'll get word from Jamie Little as what actually happened. Take us through it, DJ.
Yeah, you said they're up to speed here, and you see that he hit that bump. Kind of lost the nose of the car right then. That stacks things up quite a bit, and they get 3 and 4 wide coming off of turn 2.
Jamie, what are you hearing down there?
Well, basically, Brad just came on the radio and said, I killed the splitter there. The air pressures weren't up enough when he stopped on the gas. He thinks it should be okay now. He said it took about a lap before it stopped scraping on the track.
And as you finish up, Jamie, the 31 of Justin Allgaier gave up the 11th position to come to pit road. They had the hood on that car up. We'll see and get an update as soon as we can.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they weren't dealing with the same thing that we heard Brad Keselowski with his front splitter hitting the ground. They may have had to make an adjustment on that. Vince, what did they do when they made that pit stop?
Well, they came in, put the hood up, obviously making a major change, a camber change in the front end. And crew chief Jimmy Elledge had told me before the race today they thought they were going to have to make a camber change. So if they got an early yellow, to keep an eye out for that, because they were not happy with their car at all throughout the course of the weekend leading up to the race.
I saw him yesterday. He had a laundry list. I mean, longer than you can imagine. I said, is that what's wrong with the car? He goes, yeah, and we're still working on it.
Well, check one off the list.
Let's get an update on the man who's won the last 2 times here at this track. How about it, Doc?
Hey guys, the 60 car of Carl Edwards, he wants to win the Owners' Championship when they're down by 3 points to the 18 car, but he told me before getting in the car, today was all about learning for tomorrow. He said, what happens as the track heats up? What happens to the tires? How about the groove? On pit road, he picked a pit stall today, which is 1 pit stall different than where he will pit in the Cup car tomorrow. He may even push the envelope a little bit, maybe consider speeding on pit road today to find out how close he can call it if he has to get on and off pit road in a hurry on Sunday. Well, today for Carl Edwards is all about learning for what could happen to maybe get him the chance to win a Sprint Cup championship here at Down the Wire, guys.
And Doc, that's not the first time we've seen that strategy about picking close to where he's going to pit for Sunday. As you can see, we're resetting for the start here, and it'll be Elliott Sadler again on the high side as the leader, Clint Boyer underneath, and then in row number 2, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Carl Edwards, Joey Logano, and Trevor Bayne, and Sam Hornish Jr. is now into the 8th position. Pace car getting ready to pull back off, and we'll get ready to go back to green flag racing here at the Great American Speedway. And right now, you heard Doc talk about the Owners' Championship. Well, Denny Hamlin's trying to fight his way back. He's in 26th position after starting shotgun in this field. We're going to try it 3 wide again. That's Danica on the high side, and it's going to cost her some spots. That's Keselowski and Vickers that get around her. Meanwhile, Sadler pulls out about 2 car lengths.
Yeah, Elliott's been able to make that outside lane work, but what's been good is the start. He's really been able to get a little bit of space and get to the bottom before he got to turn 1.
Side-by-side action with Clint Boyer in the 33, the 60 of Carl Edwards. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has dropped all the way back to 6th, and restarts have been an issue for them. We heard him yesterday talking about the fact that Stenhouse in that 6 car actually went to Roy Hill's drag racing school to try and learn how not to break the tires loose.
Yeah, he had a big problem with that at Charlotte a few weeks ago, and actually had to really fight hard after the restarts to gain positions back that he was losing, and kind of the same thing here so far today, but doing a nice job.
He's gotten back to 5th. That's Sam Hornish Jr., who has now moved up into the 6th position.
Yeah, Sam's car looks really strong early on. He's really good on these 1.5 miles.
Vickers and Keselowski in the 32 and 22 respectively going after each other.
It seems Keselowski be so good on these 1.5 miles, but he didn't really seem like that whenever they ended practice yesterday. He was very happy with his race car here.
Well, you heard him in Countdown talk about the fact that yesterday they seemed to be good on short runs, but not good on the long runs, and it might surprise you. He has never won in the Nationwide Series here at Texas.
Hey, Brian Vickers is going to go ahead and venture up top, see what he can find in that 2nd and 3rd groove.
First guy we saw do that yesterday in practice was the 12 of Sam Hornish Jr.
Okay, well, if Vickers is in the 2nd and 3rd, looks like Keselowski's in the 4th groove.
Yeah, we saw in Cup practice just earlier, if you were watching, right towards the end of that practice, Brad Keselowski got up the highest of anyone that we saw on the racetrack. See if he can make that work here in this nationwide race.
Let's update you on 4 cars. Tim Andrews, TJ Bell, Jeff Green, Scott Speed, they have all taken it behind the wall.
Yeah, that running that high line is different in these cars here than they are in the Cup cars because of the horsepower difference. It's quite a bit different. So sometimes it's a little harder to make that high line work with the Nationwide car.
Let's get more on that 32 car. How about it, Dave?
We might wonder about the qualifying that he did yesterday, Brian Vickers. 21st was the best he could do. I checked in with crew chief Trent Owens this morning. He said, yeah, to be honest with you, that was kind of embarrassing for us. They restarted 14th right here, and the car is handling pretty well for Brian right now. It was very free in practice yesterday, and that's why they had so much trouble.
He has moved up quite a few positions. Right now, Vickers shown in 10th, and there's Stephen Wallace trying to close in on him.
Yeah, and we'll see more of the moving up work right now down in turns 3 and 4. The sun's on that part of the racetrack even more. It's probably heated up. We'll see them venture up there. 1 and 2, still a little bit of shade in parts there. You've got a lot of grip on the bottom of the racetrack. So going to see 2 different grooves as this goes forward.
Yeah, one thing that kind of enhances that too is we got a big tailwind down the back straightaway. That's sending these cars into turn 3 quite a bit faster than they're going into turn 1.
That's our race leader, Elliott Sadler. He's led every single lap so far, all 15 that we've run, with Clint Boyer 2nd, Carl Edwards 3rd, Trevor Bayne 4th, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in 5th. Stay with us. A lot more coming from Texas. Things happen fast in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. In the length of the commercial break, we have a new race leader. Clint Boyer has taken over point. Carl Edwards is in 2nd. And Elliott Sadler has dropped to 5th. Let's show you how the lead chain pans first. There goes Sadler through the screen.
Elliott moved up the racetrack. Now, I believe it's because his car has gotten tight on him. And if you move up the racetrack, you can save that right front tire a little bit. Elliott, I think, is just taking care of things right now. See Clint Boyer sticking to the bottom, able to make the pass. Elliott's waiting until they can have a pit stop here and see if he can make some adjustments on this car.
Jamie, what are you hearing on that 2-car?
Well, throughout practice, the 2-car was very good. They made very minimal changes to it. But right now, he says, we're just a little bit snug as you see the battle for the lead. The 60 goes around the 33 of Clint Boyer. But meanwhile, the 2 of Elliott Sadler saying he's just a little snug, but he's not panicked just yet.
So Carl Edwards becomes our 3rd different leader, and Elliott Sadler has dropped to 5th. That means Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has moved up to 4th. Here we go a little deeper in the field. Remember Denny Hamlin starting in the very back as he has worked his way up. He is side by side with Danica Patrick. That is for 14th on the track.
He's gained 25 spots since the start of the race. Taking him a couple laps to get by Danica, though. He had to race her for a good 2 or 3 laps. They get tougher to pass as you get closer to the front, don't they do?
Absolutely, yeah. You encounter faster cars, and Denny doing a nice job with this car, though, moving around a little bit on the racetrack. I'm sure he'll have some suggestions as to how to make it better whenever they get that pit stop opportunity.
Hamlin closing in on the 30 of James Buescher. Buescher, one of the key players in the Camping World Truck Series in that race last night. Let's get more on that 18 car. How about it, Vince?
Well, the key for these guys, and crew chief Jason Ratcliffe told Denny Hamlin just before the start of the race, let's be patient and get a feel for the car as you come up through traffic, understanding that the balance would change as he came through that traffic. Right now, Denny says it's a little tight as he gets on the throttle initially, but pretty good at this point. They have been patient, methodically working their way up. They knew the easier passes were going to come early, but as you guys said, they get a little harder once you get up toward the front.
We're from 20th to 13th in just 9 laps. So Denny on the march towards the front. Let's check in on Brad Keselowski after his early race mistake. Got him loose and high on the groove and dropped him back. He has moved into the 6th position, and he's closing in on Sadler.
Yeah, really fast what we've seen here. He's kind of been in that middle groove, makes a nice turn to the car, and gets a big run off the corner here for him. So he's been one of the fastest cars on the racetrack throughout this and working his way back forward once the air pressure is built up.
Let's update you on a couple other cars that have gone behind the wall. Josh Wise, Carl Long, J.J. Yaley, and Chase Miller. Right now, Elliott Sadler is praying for a caution to come out because he is in jeopardy of dropping another position. And the man he's chasing in the points championship is ahead of him in 4th. There's the points as of right now. Elliott, of course, leading a lap. That's why it shows at 14. And here comes Keselowski underneath him, so it's going to change it again.
Back to square one.
Yep, start all over. And here comes Sam Hornish Jr. in the 12. Sam, of course, going to be a full-time nationwide driver next year in this 12 car. Sam coming off his best finish this year, 5th back at Chicago. He goes around on the high side. So Sadler continues this backwards march. It's the last thing that this team needed right now. And boy, they came out of the box flying 2 laps in the first practice. That's all they did, and they were tops on the speed chart.
Again, with this new car that they have from Richard Childress Racing, I think there's some adjustments, and they figured this coming in that they would have to make some adjustments as they move forward and understand the balance of this car as they got into a longer run.
Yeah, when you get an aero package that's different, and even though it's better, it's different. You have to change your setup a little bit to accommodate that, your mechanical setup, and so they may be learning a few things about that they need to adjust to. It's a long race, though. They'll have plenty of time to get this 2-car adjusted.
Jason Leffler in the 38 closing in, and boy, Jason needs a big run. You heard in Countdown, he's still looking for a ride for next year, and his last 4 races in this 38, he has been outside the top 10. And that's the last thing you want to put on the resume this late in the season.
Yeah, and as much a big run, he needs a nice sponsor to come along, and it would be great for a young man like Jason Leffler to get that opportunity.
How about the battle for 11th? Side by side, Denny Hamlin in the 18, Brian Vickers in the 32. Vickers is making it very difficult. Vickers taking the rim ride. And Denny's going low, and he may be able to clear him this time.
Yeah, watching some of these cars running that high lane, Brian's doing a decent job up there, but looks like Brad Keselowski and Sam Hornish are the ones that can really make time. And most of the faster cars are on the bottom.
So Denny continues his march towards the front. He is just one spot away from cracking the top 10. They're all chasing Carl Edwards right now. He's the man who's won the last 2 in a row here at Texas. Stay with us.
Joe Gibbs' car.
Today on ABC, Landry Jones and the number 6 Oklahoma Sooners host Texas A&M, or you'll see Purdue and Russell Wilson visit the number 20 Wisconsin Badgers, or Andrew Luck and the number 4 Stanford Cardinal face Oregon State. College football presented by Kay Jewelers today at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. Select games are also available on ESPN2 and streaming live on WatchESPN.com and the Watch ESPN app. College football lives here. Checking in on the battle with the 6 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr., our points leader, and the 22 of Brad Keselowski. That is a battle for 4th on the racetrack.
They've been battling it out pretty hard, too. Yeah, Brad caught him pretty quickly. It looked like he was going to pass him. Stenhouse moved up and kind of took the air off the nose of Brad K's Dodge, and it's kind of slowed his progress for a couple of laps here.
The different lines that everybody is taking on this 1.5 mile, 24-degree banking. Here comes Keselowski. He's going to try it down low now. So Brad, who in Countdown was talking about how worried they were about the car on the long run, so far looking much better than they did yesterday in practice.
Yeah, it actually looks way better in the long run than it does in the short run.
Hey, Rusty, yesterday when we were watching this car in practice, he was not looking all that good.
Yeah, Marty wasn't pretty happy at all yesterday. In fact, he told his crew, he said, hey, I hope this thing's got a corded right front tire because it's handling really bad. And he was really upset with the way the car handled. And I will add one thing. Yesterday when we were calling practice, the last practice session, we noticed from up in the booth that the track was really changing a lot. In fact, it never did, quit changing. And practice ended at noon. We also know that Elliott Sadler was fastest in the first practice session. Then he fell to 8th in the next one. Had a new tire he had to put on with, kind of messed up the way his handling. So the track was going through a lot of transition, guys, and I think it's still going through that transition. And let me add one thing on. They had a truck race last night that made the track completely different also.
Yeah, I believe it too, Rusty. I think it's still changing a little bit. We see during this run, especially after the tires get laps on them, a lot of cars running that high lane, and more of them are making some time up there.
Yeah, the track temp's so much different, and that's going to continue because it's supposed to, the temperature is supposed to continue to go up, and as sun gets on this, it's going to change the way that the race cars handle.
Brad going around the 15 of Timmy Hill. He's the leader in the Rookie of the Year competition by only 1 point coming into this race. And there is Sam Hornish. And let me correct one thing. It is not, according to Vince Welch has confirmed this for us, it's not a completely done deal yet as far as Sam being in that car next year. It looks very good. I had conversations with team officials. And Vince, give us a complete update on that situation.
Well, I did speak with Sam before the race today, and he said there's been a lot of talk, and it's positive conversation, certainly, and they believe they're very close to having that deal secured for next year, but he does not have a contract yet for next year, and he says to him, that's the definitive aspect of a full-time ride for 2012. He's been doing a lot of testing for the Cup program for Penske, and he's optimistic that they can have something put together for next year, but optimism and fact, two different things, keeping their fingers crossed. It's been a good program here in the Nationwide Series in limited runs, Marty. He and crew chief Chad Walter have shown promise.
He's running 5th right now, and glad that we were able to get that all straightened out because there have been some other reports out there that, as we said, had the deal signed, sealed, and delivered for next year. So we'll keep our fingers crossed for Sam and everybody else on the team because goodness knows it's been tough to come up with sponsorships and rides for some of these guys.
Yeah, well, it's tough for that, and it'd be great for the series to have another very talented driver. They're battling for the championship next year, so hopefully, as you said, it'll all work out for Sam.
Well, we should be getting ready for some green flag pit stops here, guys. We have knocked down 43 of 200 laps. We had one caution. That was early in the race. There is the top 5 here at Texas. Carl Edwards has led the most so far. Out of the 3 that have led, he's led a total of 22 of the 43 laps. Back here at Texas Motor Speedway, the green flag pit stops have started. You saw Brian Vickers as he has tucked in, and let's check in with Dave Burns.
Loose in and off for Brian Vickers. He said he had a good groove at the top of 3 and 4. He just can't seem to get through the bumps in turns 1 and 2. It'll be a chassis and air pressure adjustment for Vickers. The 09 of Kenny Wallace is on pit road, and he's managing his pit road speed without the help of the lights on his tachometer. But for the guy that started more Nationwide Series races than anybody in history, that shouldn't be a problem. He did not get a penalty entering. Hopefully he won't get one off. Kenny's car has been just a little bit free, but now it has gotten better, Marty.
520 starts for Kenny Wallace as you see the time on his pit stop. Right side of your screen, there is Elliott Sadler, and here comes the 16 of Trevor Bayne as he's making his way down pit road, as is Carl Edwards, our race leader. Edwards, the first car in that 3 on your screen. Let's send it to Vince first.
The 16 of Trevor Bayne, he's been running in the top 5 throughout the course of this race. He says it's a little loose in, tight in the middle, loose off. He says he can deal with the loose in, but he needs help on the middle and exit. 4 tires and an air pressure change for Bayne. Doc?
Carl Edwards saying that the car a little bit, the 6th car in, Ricky Stenhouse said left side tires, 1 round down on the right rear wedge bolt because the car was too tight. The 60 car said a little free early in the run, by the way. He said a little tight with the right front under load with an air pressure change on the 60. Jamie.
And the 33 of Clint Boyer is in. He had some trash on the grill, was running hot. They got that off. He said he's a little loose off and they need to tighten up just a bit on the 33 as they work the right side, and they'll run around to the left side. And his teammate, Elliott Sadler, all the way down in the number 1 pit box, made his way on in. Of course, battling for the championship. He actually is saying the car has gotten better. He fell off there for a little bit, wants to tighten it up. Chassis adjustment in the back, air pressure, 4 tires. They're holding him extra time. Long pit stop. Problem on the right, on the left rear. 20-second stop for Elliott Sadler. That's going to hurt, Marty.
Yes, it will, because we're under green flag conditions. So Elliott Sadler, who had fought his way back into the 6th position, had actually repassed Ricky Stenhouse Jr. before this round of stops, has a 20-second pit stop right now, and the full cycle of stops has yet to be completed.
You see, he comes right back out behind Trevor Bayne, who slid through his pits a little bit. They had to take the time to back him up before they started to work on that car. You see Denny Hamlin there has passed both of these guys.
62 is the car that is shown as your race leader. That's Michael Annett. He has not made his pit stop yet. Eric Almirola is shown in 2nd, and Sam Hornish Jr., who was one of the first to pit, is now shown in 3rd with Carl Edwards 4th. Annett getting some great fuel mileage right here.
Looks like he's making that pit stop now, though. You see the hand out the window.
70 car David Stremmy's going to have to do a pass-through. Too fast both exiting and entering the pits.
Yeah, Michael Annett had been one of those cars that on that first caution took the opportunity to come work on his car, so he had a little extra fuel there to work with.
His best finishes this year, 6th at Bristol and again at Daytona in the July race. So he peels off and comes down pit road, and let's send it to Vince.
Well, Michael Annett led some laps here in the April race, so they were hoping for another good solid effort here today. Right now, he says he needs the nose to work a little better. Got to get that front end to react more, and a little rear grip for security purposes. So it's a 4-tire change. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment, a chassis adjustment as well. Sunoco fuel for the 62 of Michael Annett.
All right, Vince, you're looking on the right side of your screen at Eric Almirola, who is right now our race leader.
I think the car that's going to be the race leader is Sam Hornish. He made that earlier pit stop. Looks like he's pitted just a little earlier than some of the other cars. Must have had a great stop. He's battling Carl Edwards now for what's 2nd spot.
And there you saw Michael Annett coming back out. And yeah, right now the scoring shows it Almirola with Hornish and Edwards. But again, Almirola has to make a stop here.
Yeah, he was another one of those that pitted on that first caution. He had some damage from that first lap incident back there on the very right front of his. You can see it right behind the right front tire, but making that stop now.
So here comes the battle for the lead with Carl Edwards and Sam Hornish Jr. And Dave,
As you watch Eric Almirola pit on the left-hand side, he is loose. They'll make a track bar adjustment. Unfortunately, that's the condition that sent him to pit road on that first stop. No damage really from what the contact was on the track, but the car is so loose and stayed loose, they're still trying to get that right.
14.5 seconds on the pit stop, and there you see the 60 going around the 08 of David Reagan. Reagan making his first start this year in the Nationwide Series. So Carl has opened up now about a half-second lead over Sam Hornish Jr. Third place is now Clint Boyer. Brad Keselowski is shown in fourth, and it's now Jason Leffler in fifth with our points leader. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is in sixth. You're saying, what happened to Elliott Sadler? Well, because of that miscue on pit road, he has dropped back to the ninth position. And as we head to commercial break, we'll show you exactly what happened on the left side of the car. It ended up being a 20-second stop. And that's why Elliott finds him now back in ninth position. Let's check our motorsports schedule because NASCAR now has two editions tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern, then again at 10 p.m. Eastern, both on ESPN2. And sandwiched in between, our Sprint Cup race. Race number 8 in the Chase on ESPN at 2 o'clock Eastern. And then our next stop on the Nationwide Series comes from Phoenix next Saturday, 3 o'clock Eastern, right here on ESPN2. Back here at the O'Reilly Auto Parts Challenge, as our race leader is Carl Edwards, followed by Sam Hornish Jr., and that is Danica Patrick about to go a lap down. She is running in the 18th position. Right now, Reed Sorensen is the first man a lap down, followed by Eric Almirola, then David Reagan.
I was talking with Danica some yesterday, and she was hoping that she could get some time in the car, and before she could get through this first run or two, maybe get a break there to where she could work on the car, make some adjustments, and she's run well, but Carl Edwards is setting a pretty torrid pace here, so she's going to try to hold him off as long as she can.
Well, the thing we probably should remember is we only had 3 cautions in the spring race here at Texas, and so here we are again with just 1 caution after 65 of 200 laps, and here comes Carl on the high side.
Watching her lap times, they really haven't been that bad. When she's been out, she's made some passes, of course, so not doing a bad job here, just still a learning process for her. Dave?
And she'll be the first to admit it, DJ, as she did to me right before they got started today. Loose was the way that the race car was yesterday. That is a condition that she doesn't like, as we see Hornish going around Boyer on your left. She tried to work with it. She said, though, as the runs would go on, Tony Eury Jr., her crew chief, would get a little quiet. And she says, I know, when he's getting quiet, he's not happy with me. And they've had a loose race car most of the weekend.
Okay, there you see the numbers on Danica right now. She lost 3 spots during the pit cycle, going from 15th back to 18th. Now there is the 60 of Carl Edwards. Behind them, Clint Boyer and Sam Hornish have a nice little battle going for 2nd and 3rd. Brad Keselowski is running in 4th in that number 22. And then Ricky Stenhouse Jr., there on your screen, running in 5th right now. He's 6.8 seconds behind the race leader, and he's 2 positions ahead of Elliott Sadler, and here's the main reason why.
Now they had struggled a little bit right there on that pit stop. I don't know what it was. Yeah, it was on the left rear, looked like.
Yeah, this looked like they maybe a lug nut or 2 had fallen off and they were having a hard time. And that's the kind of things you can't have happen if you're going to battle for a championship. By this time in the season, you've run over 30 races. You need to be on top of things. But there is pressure not only on the drivers here, but the crews have to get it done too.
So as this battle sort of calms down, as you can see the gap between Stenhouse and the man he's tracking, that's Brad Keselowski up in front of him. Back up front, it is Carl Edwards. Carl has led the most laps of our 5 different leaders. He's led a total of 42. Doc, as we go up to speed with Nationwide Insurance, let's start it off with that race leader.
Thank you very much, Marty. Carl has won the last 2 Nationwide races here, and this is the same car he used to dominate here in the spring. You talk about laps led. He led 169 laps in this Ford Mustang here in the spring. He says right now he's thinking about using today to learn more about what can happen with a Cup car tomorrow. And right now he's learned that he's liking this setup. Jamie.
And Clint Boyer qualified 5th for this race, and the car has been pretty darn good. Besides the fact he had trash on the grill earlier, he had to fall back a bit and get it off. But their pit stop was very good, and the car is coming around. He wanted it to turn a little bit better. They made a track bar adjustment, and he's saying that helped. Vince?
Well, the 12 of Sam Hornish currently running 3rd. They had a good pit stop as well, but Sam doesn't like the way the car has reacted to the changes. In fact, right now he says he just doesn't feel like he can keep the rear of the car under him, particularly when he hits the bumps. Feels like the car's just a little bit too loose. Chad Walter will snug that up at the next opportunity. Jamie?
Hard to believe it was 1 year ago that Brad Keselowski clinched at this very racetrack his first ever NASCAR championship. Now here it is a year later, and he's fourth in the Sprint Cup Series point standings and looking to perhaps win a championship over there as well. As far as his car right now, it's been a little bit better. All they did was make an air pressure adjustment on that stop. Doc?
And here's Ricky Stenhouse's checklist. Okay, number one, stay in the top 5. Check, he's there. Stay out of trouble. Check, he's done that. And number 3, stay in front of the 2 car of Elliott Sadler. Check, he is doing that. Right now, Ricky Stenhouse loving what's happening here early on at Texas. Vince.
Currently running 6th is Denny Hamlin in the 18. And remember, he started at the back of the field as he substitutes for Kyle Busch today. And the wind's playing a bit of a handful with the 18 of Denny Hamlin as they enter turn 3.
Just for your information, strong wind from turn 2 to turn 4, so turn 3 may be more amplified on your entry than turn 1. Step 4 it is, thank you.
Hamlin and Jason Ratcliffe working together for the first time this season, but so far so good for the 18. Dave?
Vince, under the cloak of a commercial break, Jason Leffler was the first among our leaders to hit pit road on lap 45. He had been running in the 8th position, a very tight race car. They made adjustments, and because he was one of the early pitters, he was able to pick up a couple of spots. And the adjustment worked, by the way. Now he's too loose. Jamie?
And Elliott Sadler behind him in 8th right now. Told us on our countdown show that he loves this track so much he'd race a dump truck here. He won the Sprint Cup Series race back in 2004. But if he wants to win today, they need to be better, solid, quicker on pit road. They did indeed drop some lugs on the left rear. Marty?
And while you were talking, Jamie, boy, Elliott had a moment as he really got loose coming through that corner. He is in 8th, rounding out the top 10. It is Trevor Bayne and Joey Logano with Ryan Scott 11th. Vickers 12th, Buescher, Allgaier, Stephen Wallace. Wallace, the first car down, a lap. He's in 15th. Back here at Texas Motor Speedway, you are looking at our race leader, Carl Edwards. He has a 3.6-second lead now over Clint Boyer. He has led the most laps, a total of 53 of the 80 that we have completed so far. And there you see the other numbers. Elliott Sadler with 17, Clint Boyer with 6. We had 6 lead changes, 1 caution so far. Our championship points lead right now, 17 to the good for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Stenhouse running in 5th, Elliott Sadler running in the 8th position. We've talked about the fact we've only had 1 caution here. In fact, we only had 3 in the spring race here, which set a new track record. And right now we are still going green as we are completing lap number 82 of 200. And you can see that the current stretch is up to 73 laps, and the final stretch back in April was 72, and the longest this season was Chicago at 131. The longest green flag ever here was 118 laps back in November of 2006. There's Clint Boyer and Sam Hornish Jr. That is 2nd and 3rd on the racetrack. They go around the lap traffic of Eric McClure.
Yeah, Sam Hornish doing a nice job. He'd fallen behind Clint Boyer a little bit, but he moved back to that very top of the racetrack.
He kind of got forced in time. Yeah, he kind of got forced out of that groove by these lap cars that were running up there. But he had made a lot of time. I mean, right next to the wall in 3 and 4. I don't think you could put a piece of paper between his right rear quarter panel and the wall. This is 1 and 2.
Sam's career best in the series is 5th, as we documented earlier this year at Chicago. So right now running in 3rd and going around the 51 of Jeremy Clements. Check the battle of 7th. That is Elliott Sadler. He's gotten around Jason Leffler, so moves Sadler back into the 7th position, 2 behind Ricky Stenhouse. Let's get a little more information on that 2 car. What are you hearing down there, Jamie Little?
Well, we saw it with our own eyes. Elliott Sadler had an oh no moment, and this was his radio right after.
Oh, just got really loose again. Just feel like I'm overheating that right rear tire.
And he was saying that he needs to tighten up the race car. They made a track bar adjustment and air pressure on that first stop, but apparently it wasn't enough, guys.
Well, he was 11th after that pit cycle because of the problems that they had down on pit road. He's fought back now into the 7th position, but as you see there, he's almost 16 seconds behind the race leader of Carl Edwards.
You're going to see this racetrack change continuously, so you're going to have to keep up, and you're going to have a limited amount of opportunities with the way this race is playing out so far to make adjustments on your car. You want to take too big a swing and get it too far one side or the other, but I know that Elliott drives a car that's a little bit tighter, better than what he can a loose race car, and that's with most race drivers, but that's the way Elliott likes his car here, where he's won in the Cup Series before, so he knows what he's looking for.
Elliott goes around the 82 of Reed Sorensen. Remember when Reed was third in the championship hunt? He is now a lap down in 20th position. Carl Edwards, his lead is now up to 4.6 seconds, Doc.
Got a great race car and having a good day, but you know, an experienced race car driver knows exactly how his car should sound. Listen to Carl.
The engine sound all right to you? We'll clear. Yeah, it did. It has. We'll listen to it here. Sounds a little rough to me. Yeah, it just sounds funny to me. It feels like it lost a little power.
Well, they have talked to Carl the last minute or so, and Carl said all the gauges, the engine gauges look fine. The oil pressure, water temperature, he reports back to Mike Bean there, right side of your screen. They look okay, but a little different noise than what Carl's anticipated hearing there in the early lap. Guys?
And there's a good reason for this. Remember that in the last 16 races, in 5 of them, Roush Racing has had engine issues.
Yeah, I never like hearing that on the radio. I mean, I'm looking at the lap times, though, and Carl Edwards was the fastest car on the track last lap. So, obviously, the engine is healthy now, but when you have a driver as sensitive to the car as Carl, Carl is very sensitive to vibrations and other things. He knows, he can feel things, little bitty things in that engine that might be ticking away.
I think because there's nobody close to his car, he's hearing things a little bit.
That could be that, too.
Yeah, the engine is so bad that during the time we played that bite, he went from 4.6 to 5.4 in the lead. So that engine's doing just fine right now. Carl Edwards looking for 3 in a row here at Texas. Back here at Texas Motor Speedway, we are under our second caution now as there is debris out on the racetrack. And so that 5-second lead has dwindled away to nothing for Carl Edwards. And there you see him as he has been picked up by the pace car. And it's been about 41 laps since the last round of green flag stops. So everybody gearing up down on pit road as we will get ready. And that ended an 83-lap green flag stretch.
Kind of a big break for Elliott Sadler there, who had fallen behind that you mentioned by about 16 seconds. So get the close up. Their car's not bad, but get up where you can see Ricky Stenhouse and race with him some.
Stenhouse will come into pit road 5th. Sadler comes in 7th. We'll see where they come out after this round of pit stops. As you can see, the race leaders peeling off as they're making their way down. That's 45 miles an hour. First man up for us is Vince Welch.
Sam Hornish Jr., upper left-hand portion of your screen, says it's a little bit too tight on the top and the bottom, and they want to be better at the beginning of the run. So they're going to make an air pressure adjustment, but no chassis, just 4 tires and Sunoco fuel. Doc?
Points leader, Ricky Stenhouse, left lower corner. They're going to basically go down, around on the track bar. Air pressure change to try to tighten him up, add a little bit of grip there. And in the right upper corner, Carl Edwards, your race leader. They said, 4 tires, no changes, but take an extra second to get the lug nuts very tight. Jamie.
Elliott Sadler struggled on the first stop. They wanted to tighten up. It was too loose. On exit, he's down and away a little bit longer, but it looked like they did make that wedge adjustment and took 4 tires for Sadler.
And as you see the race off pit road, Keselowski picks up a spot at the expense of Sam Hornish. Denny Hamlin picks up a spot at the expense of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. And Stenhouse and Sadler will be 6th and 7th coming off of pit road. And here's what it looked like. About a car length. And Carl Edwards' crew, obviously very happy that they got their man out in front. Stay with us.
Hi, Mark Gill here for Grout Bully, the fastest and easiest way to clean, renew, and redesign your grout, guaranteed. Simply line up Grout Bully with your grout line, press down gently to apply, wipe off the excess, and voila! Grout Bully leaves a sparkling clean grout line every time. It's that easy. So powerful, it penetrates and eliminates the mold, mildew, and bacteria.
Before it was just a lot of hard scrubbing and cleaning, and this was just wiping it down. I mean, this was great.
When you call now, you'll get Grout Bully for the low price of only $10 in your choice of 5 amazing colors. white, tan, gray, black, or terracotta. You can now take an ordinary room and in minutes do a complete makeover, changing grout colors fast and easy. But I'm not stopping there. You'll also get 2 eraser pads with the built-in chamois. But wait, when you call right now, we'll double the offer. That's up to 1,000 square feet. Just pay separate processing and handling. Call now.
93 laps complete here at Texas Motor Speedway, so that's about time for a 5-hour energy rapid recap. And how about Kenny Wallace? 520 career starts in this Nationwide Series.
Really happy for little brother. He's been digging away for a long, long time, running hard in the Nationwide Series. He's deserving of it. Look at there. He's almost got his own road,
Wallace
Brad.
Way, baby. That's where we go.
Coming into the day, our championship leader, Stenhouse Jr., up by 15, but as we've seen before, struggles on restarts.
Yeah, had a tough time to restart. Spun the tires again. We know he's been working hard on this, but let Elliott Sadler get out and lead that lap early and got the championship bonus point.
But Sadler had issues on pit road.
Yeah, they got to get these pit stops right if he's going to win this championship. They had a mistake right there in the left rear, cost him a lot of time. I think he'll make up for it.
Kyle Busch qualified the car second, but last night in the Truck Series race, an incident with Ron Hornaday. Retaliation under yellow. NASCAR has parked Kyle Busch, not just for this race, but for the race tomorrow as well. Denny Hamlin took over the 18 car, started 40th, but as they run, right now, Hamlin is in 5th.
Now, Hamlin is flat flying. He's up to 5th in that car, and now they got a pit stop where they can adjust a little bit, looking good.
Yeah, he is. The guy that looks really good to me is Sam Hornish Jr. We've only seen him run a handful of nationwide races this season, but he is absolutely flying.
I tell you, the team I'm looking at, guys, we haven't talked about it much, is the 32 car, Brian Vickers. I know the owner made a big change. Steve Turner took Reed Sorensen out of that car, tried to improve the performance, although the performance has not been improving whatsoever. So I don't know if that was the right move or not, but they're still searching for speed in that Turner organization.
Cars get strung out pretty quickly here, Marty. A lot of jockeying for positions on this restart.
And Carl Edwards has decided to take the low line this time as we come back to green flag racing with Boyer, Keselowski, Hornish, and Denny Hamlin. That's your top 5. Boy, Keselowski right on the back bumper. He tucks in behind now.
Elliott Sadler with a big run, and from his inside spot in that 7th, Sam Hornish didn't get up to speed quite as good right there.
Also update you, Justin Allgaier got the lucky dog. That means we have a total of just 12 cars on the lead lap. Side by side for second place, it's Keselowski in the 22, then the 33 of Clint Boyer. And there you see 3 wide as they come through with Trevor Bayne, the meat in that sandwich.
Yeah, Ricky Stenhouse in kind of a bad spot there. 3 wide on the outside.
Doesn't seem to bother him any.
Well, but he's losing spots right here.
38 of Jason Leffler moves ahead. Stenhouse right now shown in the 9th position. And he's got his hands full with his teammate Trevor Bayne. There's Brian Vickers in the 32 right in front of him.
Yeah, looks like that 6 car might be really loose on this restart right here.
Sam Hornish and his teammate Brad Keselowski side by side. And there is Sadler closing in on both of them.
Yeah, Hornish had fallen behind Elliott Sadler there on that restart, but able to pass him and Brad Keselowski back.
Here come the 2 Roush Fenway teammates again. There is Trevor down low in the 16. We go on board with Stenhouse. And that moves Stenhouse back to 10th.
Yeah, if we'll have to check on an adjustment on that 6 car if it's just this set of tires isn't agreeing with him right now, but certainly off the pace that he had been setting.
If the car's just loose, this would be the best spot for him, just right up behind Trevor Bayne and nobody on his rear bumper. Doc, you hear anything on that 6?
It's interesting, guys, because Ricky said if the car was loose or the car was tight, they could work on it. But what he has told Mike Kelly is that the car is swinging back and forth. It is bouncing between a tick tight and a tick loose, and then a tick tight and back and forth. They made an adjustment going down one round on the track bar and an air pressure change, but the car is fluctuating on the racetrack. Guys, what could that be?
Well, Doc, really what it says is they're pretty close. When you have the car that kind of teeters from one side to the other, it means that, you're pretty close with your balance. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be as fast as you want to be. You see right there, Trevor Bayne getting out of shape, really loose. It's like Stenhouse will take advantage of that.
They go side by side across the stripe. Ricky is given the position at the line, but this battle is far from over.
Stenhouse just drives the car so hard that when the car is balanced, it's going to tip over one way or the other, and he is going to explore all these areas of the envelope with that balance.
Well, you talk about Trevor Bayne. Why would he be racing so hard? Well, he's coming off a pretty good streak. The last 3 races, 6th, 9th, and 3rd, which ties his best in the series. How about it, Vince? What are you hearing?
But he doesn't yet have that much sought-after victory here in the Nationwide Series this season. Even though he started his year with that Daytona 500 win, he desperately wants to get a victory here in the Nationwide Series, fighting a car that's been snappy loose. They took a pretty big swing at it with a track bar adjustment on that last pit stop, trying to give him a little something more to work with. He's got his hands full here in the first half of this race.
Stenhouse has now successfully cleared him. So Stenhouse in 9th, Trevor in the 10th position. And we mentioned the last 3. You can see what's happened since Atlanta, where he had a dismal finish of 33rd. It has progressively gotten better with 3 top 10s in a row. 98 laps to go. We're past halfway. There you see the race leader streaking through your shot. Brian Vickers sticking his nose out as he's going underneath the 12 of Sam Hornish.
Yeah, he's going the wrong way here. We talked about him moving forward, but I think he just got into the wall off of turn 2 a minute ago.
Whoa, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. does the smart thing there. He could have been in some serious trouble. He backs out. And let's go back and show you, maybe this is what gave Sam some of his issues.
Sam Hornish has been running that extremely high line, and you can see he just gets a little bit too high, carrying a little too much speed, and gets into the wall. I don't think it's going to hurt his car too much.
And he hit that bump coming across the tunnel.
Yeah, and that bump's not just on the bottom. It's a big dip right there. It's where the tunnel is down in the middle of 1 and 2 under the racetrack there, and that goes all the way to the top. And it actually gets a little bit worse at the top sometimes. You're carrying some more speed by running up there.
Those 4 cars are all for position. Vince, what are you hearing on that radio?
Well, Sam Hornish Jr. just had a conversation with Chad Walter about what exactly they did on that pit stop, because he said, I don't know what we did, but it is way too loose. They made air pressure adjustment out of the right rear and left rear, but they're a bit baffled as to why it's had the effect on the car that it has. Remember, they really wanted it to be better at the beginning of the run. Certainly didn't accomplish that with those changes.
And Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has gotten around him for 8th, and he's about to lose it to Trevor Bayne for 9th. And a little farther forward, there's the 22 of Brad Keselowski getting in front of Denny Hamlin. That's the battle for 3rd. And there's Elliott Sadler as he's come back to life running in 5th. Everybody is trying to catch Carl Edwards. Carl has led 78 of the 105 laps that we've run. There's your top 5 with 95 to go. Now 94 at Texas. Tonight, Brandon Whedon and the Oklahoma State Cowboys try to remain undefeated. They host Kansas State. Or you can check out Notre Dame. They're on the road against Wake Forest. It's Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines at 8 Eastern and 5 Pacific. Both games are available nationally on either ABC or ESPN2 and streaming live on WatchESPN.com and the Watch ESPN app. It's college football, and it lives here. Welcome back to the O'Reilly Auto Parts Challenge. Make sure to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. We're past the midway point. You can see we have 88 laps remaining, and Carl Edwards has led a total of 85 of the 200 laps in this race so far. His lead over Clint Boyer is 0.8 of a second. It is Brad Keselowski 3rd, Elliott Sadler 4th, and Denny Hamlin has now been pushed back to 5th. That's right, Sadler has gotten up ahead of Denny Hamlin, so his car has come back to life. Jamie Little, what are you hearing on that number 2 car?
Well, Marty, they've been adjusting on the number 2 car, trying to tighten it up, but the bigger problem has been he's been a better short run car and not so good on the long runs.
If this don't get it, we'll just be really aggressive on the next stop.
Yeah, the changes are working like for the first 10 or 15 laps. And it just, as I run, I'm not using the left rear and I'm using the right rear too much. And it just kind of gets freer as we go. Look at this little adjustment I help us here.
Just getting too free. And for more on that, let's check it in the Craftsman Tech Garage and Tim Brewer. Tim, what could they do exactly to get more aggressive with their changes?
Sometimes, Jamie, when you change the weight distribution in a car, meaning run the wedge bolt down, you're only loading the left rear spring just a little bit. Put the track bar down, might be a little bit better mode, but still yet, when you have to get aggressive, you have to put this spring rubber in the left rear. That will tighten the car up. Guys,
All right, Tim, as you finish up, the 08 of David Reagan had a big puff of smoke come from the engine compartment. He has shut it off, gotten down on the apron, and our third caution
I'm sure it blew
of the
up a little
day
better
has
than
come
that,
out.
though.
And the cloud of smoke that he laid down is still covering turn 1. Here we go.
Yeah, definitely something let go. And David's fighting that thing, too. He's got a lot of oil coming out of that engine compartment getting on the tires, but did a good job to keep it down and get it out of the way.
Did a real nice job of getting off the racetrack as quickly as he possibly could. And you're right, Andy, had his hands full in that entire process. Of course, David, Roush Fenway Racing, trying to find the sponsorship to keep him in the car for next year. But he said he would come back to this series if he has to, if it means a good ride and a chance to do something with his career. As we get ready now for potentially another round of pit stops. Last time we stopped was on lap 92. We've completed now 115. Remember, you only have 4 sets of tires on the ground, plus the 1 set on the car, and here comes all the race leaders. So obviously everybody's going to see what they can do here. Will we see 2 tires, no tires, or 4 tires? Let's check in with Vince Welch first.
Denny Hamlin, top left of your screen. He's going to get a tear off to help his vision. 4 tires, a slight air pressure adjustment, a little too tight in the center.
Left lower part, Ricky Stenhouse, half around in the right rear. Still a little bit tight, 4 tire change. And upper right corner, Carl Edwards, race leader, 4 tires, slight air pressure, tear off on the windshield. Jamie.
Ernie Cope, crew chief, says we are leaving this car alone. You're as good as the leaders here. 4 tires, let's get a good clean pit stop. And that's what they did in the 2 car.
Race off pit road. You can see that Elliott Sadler has picked up 2 spots. Everybody taking 4 tires. Boyer loses a spot. Keselowski loses 2. And the man who lost a lot was Sam Hornish Jr. He came in 7th and is not even among the top 10 coming back out. Here is the race off, and this is how congested it got by a little over a car length, and then it is literally everybody hitting the line. Stay with us. Under our third caution here at the Texas Motor Speedway with 82 laps to go, Brian Vickers will get the lucky dog, and that'll give us a total of 18 cars back on the lead lap. That is until the waiver round. A total of 12, including the 7 of Danica Patrick, decided to stay out. Now, that's about 25 laps since they last pitted, and there is the group. Dave, what are you hearing down there?
With Tony Eury Jr. now, who made that decision to keep Danica on the track. Tony, she was last on pit road lap 92. Why was that the right decision for y'all?
Well, you know, with our strategy, Dana, it takes her a little bit to get going in the races, and we just got to get on a leading lap as soon as possible, you know, and we got 20 laps on the tires, so we got 1 more stop to go, so that works out for us, you know, and then we got an extra set. If it comes down to the end of the race, we got 15 to go, we've got a set. So we just got to maintain here, get maybe a quick caution comes out, maybe it comes out in 20 laps, and, you know, it'll pay off at the end.
Playing the hand that was dealt him so far, it sounds like, guys.
All right, as we get ready to go back to green, here are the cars on the wave around that do get back on the lead lap. Danica, and Stephen Wallace, Kenny Wallace, Reed Sorensen, and Mike Bliss. Up front, it is Carl Edwards and Elliott Sadler. Edwards again has taken the low line. Behind him, it's Boyer, Hamlin, Keselowski, and Stenhouse. Good restart so far. Everybody in formation. Sadler trying to stay with that 60 of Carl Edwards. He has been the dominant car all day.
Yeah, he's got to run. It's going to make it 3 wide here.
Boyer going down low into 3. Sadler way up the hill. This could cost him more than just the front row. Coming to the stripe. Looks like Carl is still going to hold on, though, as Boyer is right there. Sadler recovers to hold on to 3rd. Keselowski is 4th, and then Denny Hamlin is 5th. 3 wide. Are we going to try that? No. Hamlin says no. It's tucked back in behind the 22.
Like Elliott Sadler's kind of committed to that high lane. Looks like he might get back up beside Keselowski all 4.
Yeah, he was able to stay more in the middle of the racetrack with the fresher tires there. He was forced to the really high side last time and lost a little momentum. Boyer able to take the lead out there now from Carl Edwards.
So it is Boyer, Edwards, Sadler, Keselowski, Hamlin, and Stenhouse. That's your top 6. There you see Sam Hornish Jr. He had a rough pit stop, fell back. He's now running in 10th position. He's got Brian Vickers, man who got the lucky dog right behind him. That's James Busher on the high side in the 30. Justin Allgaier in that 31 car. Back up front, and all of a sudden, Clint Boyer, he opens up about a 0.3 of a second lead over Carl Edwards. That's about the farthest Carl's been back all day, except for pit stops.
That's why it's so important on these restarts to try to make that pass, because once you can if he can put Carl Edwards behind him for a few laps, it really changes the way that 60 car handles. Jamie?
And it is all about that clean air right now. Clint Boyer said before he came in, the track is really changing. They just wanted to get up front. He said his car has been just a little bit free, not a big deal, but they did make a track bar adjustment on the last stop and put 4 good tires on there. And they had a really solid pit stop, and that got him the track position. Doc?
And Carl was also complaining to his crew chief Mike Beam and had him talk to the NASCAR official about them lagging back on the restarts, that they're lagging back, and obviously they get a run on the restarts. And by the way, Carl also said that, let's listen into what Carl said here a moment ago, by the way.
You'll get him back here, buddy. He's lagging back on these starts like crazy, so we'll get him back.
Hey, you're not allowed to do that again, but just point out to the officials, see if they'll keep him from doing that.
Yeah, Mike's talked to him. He's done it all day. That's like the 4th time here he's done it. 2 back.
So they have talked to the NASCAR official about the lagging back on the restarts that Carl had complained in. And oh, by the way, Carl says they're only going to run, the car's a little bit free, but as the run evolves, the car gets better and better, and he will get quicker and quicker as he moves in now on the 33.
Well, let's go back and show you the restart again that you heard Doc on the radio discussing.
See the gap there that Clint Boyer had, and he had allowed him to get in the gas a little bit before Carl did, and that got Boyer a little bit of a run. I don't know that NASCAR's going to do anything about that. They may just warn him a little bit, but here comes Carl.
Battle for the lead. Carl Edwards down low, has the inside line, and looks like he may be able to clear. And yes, he does.
I'll take care of it this way.
So he is back out in front. Carl has led 93 of our 126 laps that we have run. There is your top 3, and Elliott Sadler looking to take over second spot, and does, as we head to commercial break with Keselowski and Hamlin rounding out the top 5.
Now hard to reach is never out of reach. The next generation Craftsman Auto Hammer. A new articulating head. Superior access. Only Sears has over 25 Nextech tools now all on sale. Craftsman, trust in your hands.
When you dine out, you come to Cece's. And when you dine at home, you still come to Cece's. Picking up boxes bountiful in pizza, but never in price. Look who's got life figured out. Right now, carry out 3 medium pizzas for just $9.99.
Back here at Texas Motor Speedway, points leader Ricky Stenhouse Jr. with 69 laps to go has got himself a handful of race car. He's about put it in the wall twice during the commercial break. He has lost a couple of spots. He's back to 8th, DJ.
Yeah, he's really fighting this car right now. Right as we were going to commercial, he had a big slide off 4. You can see how hard he's working the steering wheel here.
Let's go back and show you what we're talking about as he's coming off the corner here.
This is one of his big slides that he took.
Yeah, one.
Just one. We've seen this a couple of times off of turn 4. Now, almost every lap, he's fighting it.
Get an update on that 6 car. What are you hearing, Doc?
Well, Ricky Stenhouse, obviously the emotion is starting to get to the young driver here as he's just trying to hang on that steering wheel. Here's what he had to say on the radio a moment ago.
We have made this worse and worse every time, and snapping loose really bad. Can't get down the straightaway.
Well, he just now screamed, this car is junk. It is junk, and absolutely. Then the spotter said, calm down. Listen, said just let the faster cars go by. Let's just cruise here for a little bit and keep it out of the fence. And then the crew chief, Mike Kelly, came in a moment ago and said, Ricky, all we did was a half a round of wedge in the right rear. That's all we did. We didn't do that big a change. I know the car's loose. Hang on, calm down, keep it out of the fence. We will fix it on the final stop.
All right, DJ, young driver, championship. You're seeing it sliding backwards slowly. How do you keep yourself calm?
Well, these are championship-defining moments right here, and you have to keep yourself calm and understand that, just this set of tires isn't agreeing, but you can't lose the championship right here. Just take it easy. If you lose a couple of spots, you'll make an adjustment. I like how these crew chiefs say, hey, we didn't make much of an adjustment, but just hold on.
Well, I think it goes back to what we said before. I think this car was pretty close to being balanced before. They're just trying to find some speed. But one of the things that's putting a lot of pressure on him, there's two big scoring pylons here, and I'm sure the driver can see that, and he sees Elliott Sadler's number in second spot, so he knows he has to go.
And there's the point differential as they run right now, down to 8. And we are getting down to 64 laps to go. Plenty of time to make an adjustment on this car, and that's exactly what those guys are talking about. Be patient, we'll fix it.
Yeah, but he's looking in his mirror. He sees some other cars coming at him. Jason Leffler's not too far behind. Brian Scott's back there, so he realized he could lose more, but just have to stay patient right here.
All right, and the man he is now chasing on the racetrack, Elliott Sadler, is 9/10 of a second behind race leader Carl Edwards. Whoa, as you see Jason Leffler getting a little loose coming through 4. Edwards' lead is now 1 full second over Sadler. And there you get an idea where they are on the racetrack, respectively. Clint Boyer is a half second behind Sadler. Let's get an update on that 2 car from Jamie Little.
And you know this entire KHI team is watching what is happening with Ricky Stenhouse and how he's battling with this car. They just reminded Elliott, don't overdrive it. Just stay focused. Keep doing what you're doing. The car is the best it's been all day as he runs around second right now, Marty.
And look at the difference in the hand movement on Elliott's car as he goes into the corner compared to what we saw just a moment ago with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. A lot less action in the number 2 cockpit as this championship battle has really heated up here in the 3/4 stage of this race at Texas Motor Speedway. He can see Carl Edwards in front of him, but right now, the man he's worried about most is behind him. Elliott Sadler second, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in 8th.
It's a double dose of NASCAR Now tomorrow. First up at 9 a.m. and then tomorrow night a recap of all the activities here at Texas Motor Speedway, 10 p.m. Eastern, all of it on ESPN2. Of course, don't miss the Sprint Cup Series race from Texas Motor Speedway tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. And next weekend it is one of those wild card races as the Nationwide Series heads to Phoenix next Saturday, 3 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2. Back here at Texas, 145 laps complete, and out front it is the 60 car of Carl Edwards, who is fighting not for the Drivers' Championship, but the Owners' Championship. And as they run right now, that 60 car has a 6-point advantage over the 18 car of Joe Gibbs Racing. Of note, the 18 car had the lead heading into today's race, but the 18 car today was supposed to be driven by Kyle Busch. It's now being driven by Denny Hamlin, of course, because Kyle has been parked by NASCAR for the weekend.
Well, he hasn't lost an Owners' Championship lead because he's running bad. I mean, Denny Hamlin's up in the top 5 right now. That car's really running strong. But talking about the Owners' points, I can tell you that Owners' points is a big, big deal.
Yes,
I mean, they want to win that thing so bad it's unreal. It's great for the team morale. All the guys back at the shop building those cars. It keeps them in the game. It keeps them working hard.
Very important for the organization, and I agree with Rusty. I mean, this race car hasn't lost anything, obviously, by putting Denny Hamlin in there. And he still has a good chance to win this race. He's been consistently one of the fastest race cars on the racetrack.
But he did start the day with a bit of a hole because of the driver change. The 18 car started 40th, while Carl Edwards started up front in 6th. So from the Owners' Championship to the Drivers' Championship, right now Elliott Sadler second in points, but running in second on the track, while Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is dropping further and further back in the field. He's 9th.
Well, you got to hand it to Elliott Sadler, at least I do, and really to KHI and Richard Childress Racing for partnering up and building him this new Richard Childress designed car for this particular race, because it seems like it's really working good. He's up in the 2nd position now, and the other KHI car is in the 3rd position, so they've really grouped together to try to help Elliott. But now when you talk about Ricky Stenhouse, here's a driver that's having a little bit of a handling issue out there. And in my opinion, he just needs to stay calm, stay up on the wheel, stay driving hard, Brad.
Still got a top 10 race car thus far. Talking about Ricky Stenhouse, if he just maintains his patience, they get another caution. They can come in and wrench on that race car, get a little bit better. But Elliott Sadler's done everything he told us he needed to do except for lead the most laps. That's because Carl Edwards is just insanely fast right now. But Elliott's doing a good job of trying to take this championship instead of letting it come to him.
Elliott only about 0.8 of a second behind Carl Edwards. Marty?
And Sadler finished ahead of Stenhouse Stenhouse in 3 of the last 4 races. And as a driver and a crew chief, eventually that starts getting in your head. You see that lead keep dwindling.
Yeah, and talking to Elliott, he knows that's exactly what he has to do. He has to apply the pressure and try to make this young man make a mistake. And the best thing you can do is be up front and make all of that happen. And you never know what could transpire, and he's doing his job today.
I remember those that stayed out and got the wave around. Well, they're now coming into pit road. Jamie.
And the 66 just been struggling with this race car all day long, saying he needs more front and rear grip. 4 tires, they're going down on the track bar. They've been doing spring rubbers today, everything they can to get this car to handle better.
With 50 laps to go, they might be able to go the distance. And 7 of Danica Patrick it is in, David.
She is on pit road. She also took the wave around. She'll get a track bar adjustment. Car getting a little bit loose. She stopped a little bit too short. The pit stall, or I think it was to actually avoid a car in front of her. So it took a little extra time here. She'll lose some track position she had been gaining on this last run. But again, the wave around takes them to pit road now. They'll be able to make it to the end.
They were hoping that they'd get that caution. It did not happen, as we've only had 3. We only had 3 in the spring race. And you heard Dave talk about the fact that she had a little bit of an issue coming into her pit box. And there is your race leader, Carl Edwards, as he goes streaking by as she comes back out on the track.
When she came in her pit stall, the 87 was already there. It looked like he was finished, and she was waiting on him to pull away. They must have had a little hiccup, and Nemechek didn't leave as soon as she thought. See right here, they're up on the left side, Jack. She thought they were going to leave.
Come on.
Cost her just a couple seconds right there.
And that's just the type of things that she's going to have to learn and get better at as we move forward. And there's nothing you can do other than get experience at that type of situation.
She's done an incredible job on the track today. I've watched her many, many laps, and all these lap times are getting better. Just like we heard our crew chief say a while ago, Tony Uri Jr., he said that it takes her just a little while to get going, but once she gets going, she's as good as anybody out there. See, she's fighting that thing.
Well, and with 50 laps to go when she made the stop, theoretically, she could go the distance. Now, remember, everybody else, the front runners, including race leader Carl Edwards, they are going to have to make one more stop. So it's Carl, who has now led 121 laps, leading Elliott Sadler by 1.2 seconds. And the championship battle is down to 7 points because Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is running 9th.
NASCAR Nationwide Series at Texas is brought to you by Papa John's. Earn free pizza fast with double Papa Rewards every weekend, only at papajohns.com.
Beautiful day here at Texas Motor Speedway. It's been a really beautiful day for Carl Edwards. There you see Denny Hamlin and Brad Keselowski is they're a little bit further back in this field. Hamlin has just gotten around Keselowski for that 4th position. They're all chasing Carl Edwards, who has led 127 of the 160 laps that we have run. There's been a total of 5 leaders and 8 lead changes. Doc, let's get an update on this great day for the 60.
It has been that kind of day for Carl Edwards from the get-go. He knew he would have a good car. Wanted to do a little research for tomorrow, and obviously running very, very well. And as to what they will do in this final stop, let's listen in.
It'll be 29 laps to go when we stop, you know what I'm saying? I just want to make sure that we get enough in it to where you can get after it there. All right, how much you plan on doing? Like I said, the track bar down, and maybe just a little bit of air out of the right rear.
So that means they'll pit on lap 171, probably 1 can of fuel only. They'll got to pack the fuel cell, 1 can in, quick stop, 4 tires, air pressure change, and Carl hopefully can drive it in to victory lane. Guys?
And obviously, you mentioned the fact that they're working on tomorrow. What's happened the last 2 times when Carl has won on the Nationwide Series here? Well, this race a year ago, he came back in 19th and then 3rd in the spring race in the Cup race. And of course, there's a good stat for Ford fans. If a Ford wins today, it will win the Manufacturers' Championship. Let's move back to the 2 car of Elliott Sadler. He has dropped now 2.2 seconds behind our race leader, but he has a 1.6 second lead over 3rd place.
If you run that lap, we're going to win this thing. That was a 60, real good lap.
Is he just being confident for his driver, or because he's actually losing ground to the race leader?
Well, yeah, when he said that, he was really going just about equal lap times with Carl Edwards. And those 60s were really good at that point. Now, they've slowed down just a little bit now. The last lap, both of them ran 31.70s.
Well, and DJ, the thing that's really important, remember we heard on the radio earlier, after lap 15 on a stop, he said the car just falls apart, but it's not this time.
No, they've been able to make the right adjustments, and Elliott lost a lot of his time. He started searching around quite a bit to see if he could move up the racetrack where he had run earlier, and he lost about a second to Carl Edwards in a span of about 4 laps, and he's moved back to where he had been running, and the things have kind of equaled out, and he actually beats Carl about every other lap here.
And what's happened to Ricky Stenhouse Jr.? He has got his hands full right now with Brian Scott in a battle for 9th position. Stenhouse has it, and Brian wants it. Let's get an update on the 6. Doc?
Well, Marty, you would not believe that Stenhouse is still the points leader and has a car that's still running in the top 10 if you were to listen to his radio. In fact, let's listen in right now.
Drops through the right front on exit, then it snaps loose and about spins out up off. Entry's fine. No, entry's really loose, but I mean, that's not my biggest problem. I mean, not one part of this thing is good. Entry, center, or exit.
So there you heard the radio.
So Stenhouse will be coming in this time, guys. And by the way, he's slowing down to make his way on the pit road. Let's check in with the 22 car and Jamie.
And the 22, Keselowski's down and away. He already made his stop. The 33 made theirs. They were going back and forth on what exactly to do. They went down on the track bar. But the 2, Elliott Sadler, is in his pit box right now. They're not going to fill it up. No need to do that, as we don't have that many laps left in the race. 4 tires. Let's go back to Doc.
And here is the critical pit stop for the points leader, possibly a championship hanging in the balance for Ricky Stenhouse. They're going to put that half a round back in that they had taken out a wedge in the right rear. 4 tires and fuel to try to tighten this car up. Vince.
Here comes the 18 of Denny Hamlin. He says it's too loose in and too loose off. They're just going to give him 4 tires, a slight air pressure adjustment for the 18 of Denny Hamlin. Now the 16 of Trevor Bayne is coming as well. And for Bayne, he says it's just sliding too much for him to turn it. They're going to go a half round down on the track bar with that 4-tire change.
And the 60 car, our race leader and dominant of the day, Carl Edwards. You heard Mike Beam say on this final stop, we're going to go down 1 round on the track bar, and we're going to make a slight air pressure adjustment right front. 4 tires, and he keeps reminding everybody, guys, got to get the lug nuts tight. Be deliberate. Big picture, trying to win a cup title on Sunday. Left side tires going on. Lengthy stop, over 14 and a half seconds, guys.
And Carl Edwards, who has dominated this race today, back out onto the track. Our second round of green flag stops and the last stop for all of those that were running up on the front, as we now have only 32 laps to go. And you're looking at Joey Logano because right now he is shown as the race leader, but he still has a stop to make.
Yeah, and I think they actually forced Carl Edwards in. We'd heard them talk about with 29 to go a little bit early, but these other cars, Clint Boyer, Elliott Sadler, getting on pit road, he couldn't afford to stay out there with those guys on fresher tires and beating a second or so a lap.
Well, go ahead. Sorry, Marty. You see all the 3 cars that made those pit stops are right together. See Carl Edwards, the 2 car, and the 33 of Clint Boyer, they're all running right together here.
And I was going to say, Timmy Hill, Rookie of the Year points leader, has taken his car for the 2nd time behind the wall. So Blake Cook could be our points leader in that battle, as he is still out on track running 22nd, 3 laps down. Let's go on board. This is the view from Elliott Sadler.
It's going to be the battle for the lead when Logano makes his pit stop. So this is essentially going to be the battle for the win with just 30 to go.
Well, and this is what's interesting. Edwards was 2.2 seconds ahead of Sadler when Elliott pitted, and look where they are now.
Yeah, it was just that 2 laps really that made the real difference. Elliott to be able to do that. He did a great job getting on and off of pit road, so he's got himself in a position to possibly win this race.
Right now, Logano still shown as the race leader. He has yet to make his stop. There is Clint Boyer shown in the 4th position. There's 2nd, 3rd, and 4th right in your screen. Carl has not been able to pull away this time.
I think where Carl's car is the strongest is after you get about 25 or 30 laps on the tires, so you're barely going to get to that point. If Elliott Sadler can hang right here, he might be able to put enough pressure on him to, Carl doesn't make any mistakes, but to possibly make a run on the outside or something, try to get that win.
Well, you saw during the round of pit stops, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. came in at the same time Elliott did. He got out later than Elliott. He is shown right now currently in 9th position, but remember, Joey Logano is now coming into pit road. David?
They waited as long as they can, and one of the reasons why is they wanted to make a large adjustment if they could. The car is still loose. They got about halfway to where they wanted it last time, but during that run, he fell from 7th to 13th before they all started pitting. So has not been a good race car for Joey Logano all day long.
And Joey goes back out on the track, and this race has traditionally been dominated by Joe Gibbs Racing, but today the domination has been by the Ford of Carl Edwards. Right behind him, though, is the Chevrolet of Elliott Sadler with Clint Boyer third. There is Denny Hamlin in fourth. All four in your screen at one time. Brett Keselowski rounds out your top 5 here at Texas. So this time by, we'll have 26 laps remaining, and I think we may have a good old-fashioned Texas shootout. You don't want to miss it. 21 laps to go here at Texas Motor Speedway, and you're saying, wait a minute, what happened to the 2 car? Because Carl Edwards is leading, but Elliott Sadler has dropped back. Clint Boyer got around during the break. So did Denny Hamlin. And DJ, you were noticing a symptom that occurred to Elliott a little bit earlier in this race.
Yeah, it looked like his car's gone to the loose side here. He's had to move all the way up to the top of the track. Now, if they can continue to run out here, it may be okay, but we've got a caution.
Well, that's what he needed as the caution comes out for the 4th time today. And guess who's going to get the lucky dog? If the scoring monitor is correct, it will be Danica Patrick.
Yeah, she did a nice job there hanging on. She just got lapped a few laps ago by Carl Edwards.
That will give us 14 cars on the lead lap, and this is exactly what she needed to be able to go the distance.
Yeah, because she has an extra set of tires. That's what he was talking about, is taking that wave around kind of worked out in their favor.
So with 20 laps remaining, we have our 4th caution of the day. Let's talk about the strategy here, crew chief. Do you want to pit?
Yeah, I want to. I don't want to go to the track position.
If you're Elliott, you're definitely going to pit, right?
Well, I don't know if they have tires left. I hadn't counted up the pit stops, but
yeah, they could have used up all
their tires. You know, they may have something left from practice, but I believe they might be forced to stay here. I think that I got to stay out there with 20 to go.
All right. Well, we're going to find out. There's Ernie Cope. He's the man that's going to make the call on that 2 car.
Yeah, stay out. We're out of tires. Stay out.
There you go.
See, Danica Patrick's got an extra set of tires by taking that wave around, so she'll get this lucky dog and be able to come in and get tires.
Carl gives a little fake like he's going to go, but of course does not, and everybody else stays out as well. So while we are under this 4th caution, it gives us a chance to remind you about what's going to be coming up on the ESPN family of networks, because twin editions of NASCAR Now. Crew's going to be working a long day at 9 a.m. Eastern tomorrow morning, and then tomorrow night after the race at 10 o'clock Eastern, both of those on ESPN2. Then our Sprint Cup coverage from here in Texas with 3 races to go in the chase, 2 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. And our next stop will be at Phoenix, where it's a brand new surface, a different track, a little bit different configuration, Saturday at 3 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2. Don't miss that one. All right, let's check in with the crew chiefs. Doc?
Well, you rarely hear a crew chief use words like perfection and an awesome day, but it's that kind of day for you guys, Mike. Again here, awesome effort for the whole team. What does this do for you and for Carl Edwards in terms of what could happen here tomorrow?
Well, ever since they've started the chaser, we've tried to help them all we can, with air pressure, run stuff for Bob and Carl and his whole team. And, so it's worked out really well for us, and, it's definitely a big help to have, Bob and, like I said, I got Scott Gray. He's a great engineer, and so hopefully we can make it 3 in a row here, and it can be a good day for him, and then they can kind of see with the track temp and kind of see what's going to lead into tomorrow.
Okay, Mike Beam talking about what today can do to help tomorrow. Let's check in with Vince.
With Jason Ratcliffe, the crew chief for Denny Hamlin, you were throwing a curveball, not having Kyle in the car today and having Denny instead, having to start from the back. Now with just a little bit left to go, do you have something that can win this race?
I think so. I mean, one thing about Denny, you never know, He's a pretty patient guy, and he's done a spectacular job for us today coming from the back. And we've just made progress all day. I'm really proud of the guys. They've made a lot of adjustments on pit road. I think the biggest thing is the wind. We've been playing havoc with the wind today, but car's the best it's been all day, and Denny's doing a great job. We're in position. We'll see. It should be fun.
Less than 20 to go. Jamie?
And those last few laps, Elliott Sadler said he got really loose, and you told him turn off both fans because we're not pitting. How do you expect that can help the car condition?
Well, I hope it'll tighten up a little bit. All of a sudden, he said just started getting loose on him, started going back a little bit. Hopefully the heat cycle on these tires, and like I said, turn those front fans off, will tighten them up.
Told him he needs to stick it out here till the end, Marty.
And you heard them mention the wind, and it has definitely picked up during the course of this race. It's coming from turn 2 across the track towards turn 4. And it has made turn 3 interesting.
Yeah, it's just a big tailwind, which makes the cars have so much more speed getting into that corner that that kind of amplifies any other problem you have. If you're loose in, it's going to make it way worse because you're going to be going so much faster.
Yeah, and the only other thing it may do is you try to exit turn 4, could blow you up the track just a little bit there for those drivers that are especially running that higher lane.
In the last 6 races, Carl Edwards, our race leader, has finished no worse than second. He is looking for his 9th win of the year. Let's get an update on his teammate, the man leading the championship right now at 10 points. Doc?
And we talked about all the issues Ricky Stenhouse has had and how he's battled through a loose race car and tried to keep it out of the fence, and how Mike Kelly, the crew chief, has worked really hard with Ricky. And now Ricky just said a moment ago, he said, guys, the car is the best it has been on new tires all day long. We have finally got something. So right now he is sitting in 8th spot. These last 17 laps may help him move back up a little bit in that point standings in terms of trying to hold off Elliott Sadler. Guys?
Sadler will restart 4th, Stenhouse 8th. That's 4 positions. That's 4 points. And as we mentioned right now, it is 10 because Elliott led a lap and Ricky has not. Lights are out on the pace car. We can tell you Danica Patrick was among those that did make a pit stop. She got the lucky dog. So she's going to restart in 14th position, and the only car on the lead lap that will have 4 fresh tires.
Yeah, she's got some other cars, some lap cars she has to start behind to deal with before she can get up there and race for that 13th spot. But she's done a great job all day.
All right, so here is Carl Edwards and Clint Boyer. Carl's going to take the high side on this restart. In row number 2, you've got Denny Hamlin and alongside Elliott Sadler. Then Brad Keselowski and Trevor Bayne there in row 3. Stenhouse there in row 4 with Sam Hornish Jr. alongside. Row 5, Leffler and Scott. And that is your top 10. Pace car has pulled off. This time by, there will be 16 laps remaining here at the Great American Speedway. Boy, what a start by Carl.
Yeah, he's been talking about the 33 of Clint Boyer laying back some, so Carl took care of that issue as Clint laid back some. And as he took off, then the 33 and the 2 both spun their tires, trying to make a comeback here now.
Boyer sort of hung out on the inside there, yeah. There goes Hamlin as he moves into the 2nd spot, on board with Sadler.
You have a loose race car like Elliott Sadler said he had. These restarts can be very, very difficult in traffic.
Right behind those two. Look at Trevor Bayne trying to stick his nose up in between there and try and make it 3 wide. Sam Hornish in the 12 behind Bayne. Then it's Brad Keselowski. Everybody sort of falls back into line. There you see Stenhouse at the back of that group. Stenhouse running in the 8th position.
Well, Denny Hamlin there and say, I can't tell you how impressed. Andy talked about he thought that he could take advantage of that. I was a little skeptical getting in a race car that you haven't been set up for. As we see Elliott Sadler now being overtaken by Trevor Bayne for that 4th spot.
Yeah, Trevor trying to help his teammate, and he does as he takes the position. That's another point. There you saw Keselowski get around the 12 of Sam Hornish.
Stenhouse trying to take a spot away, so it'd be a big points difference right there. Big swing.
At one point, it looked like this was going to be down to single digits, but there you can see, here comes Stenhouse in that 6, putting some pressure on. He is running in 8th. Sadler is now back to 5th. And he goes underneath Hornish. So now move Stenhouse into the 7th position.
See, Hornish lost another spot there. Handle's really gone away on that race car in the 2nd half here.
So the points was down to 7 between the two. Now it's back up to 12. And let's take another look at this pass by Stenhouse.
Yeah, this pretty much way that you do it. You know, you don't have to hit anybody. You get him a little bit loose. You can see the wiggle by Sam Hornish. You drive by him.
And from the onboard.
There you go. There you go. And clear. Good job.
Back up front. This time by, there will be 11 laps to go. Can Denny Hamlin pull this off? He actually started the race in 48. Oh, we got contact in the wall. The 38 of Jason Leffler. So the caution comes out again.
Caution's out. There you go.
Leffler was running in the 8th position, and you can see the damage on the right side.
He's been fighting a loose car mostly all day long. I don't know if he just lost it right there and got up in the wall.
Right rear pretty good there, Eddie. The deck
We were talking about the fact 4 races in a row he's finished outside the top 10. He looked like he was on the way to a top 10 finish here until that.
Yeah, that's a hard hit. You could just see the wiggle back there in the more towards the center of the corner. Just wasn't able to gather it back up until he got into the wall.
He's basically been wrecking this car all day, and he finally got it done. And he's been fighting it.
So we'll have to see if Jason needs to make a run towards pit road.
It's going to be a big break for Danica now. She'll get to line up with all of the cars on the lead lap with those fresher tires.
She has moved her way into the 13th position ahead of Justin Allgaier despite all that lap traffic. So like you said, we'll see what she does on the restart.
Yeah, she won't have to deal with that lap traffic this time. That's the rule when you get a lucky dog. You have to start behind the other lap cars on the restart.
So with 10 laps to go, why don't we talk to our in-race reporter and see what Clint has in store in that 33.
Hey, Clint, Dale Jarrett, you have a copy?
Yeah.
Well, you got an opportunity here. Is your car good enough to get up there and pass Carl?
I don't know. We're trying. Just gets real loose. The longer we go, these cycles on the tires just keep making it kind of amplify, make it worse. We're going to try.
Hey, Clint, we've been talking about the wind down the back straightaway and into turn 3. You really feel that inside the race car?
Yeah, you do. You know, turn 3 and 4 there, you really feel it moving the car around quite a bit.
Okay, good luck, man. Thanks for talking.
It's open.
All right, Kenny Wallace is going to get the lucky dog in his 520th record-setting start here in the Nationwide Series. That'll give us 15 cars back on the lead lap. Jason Leffler did come in to get the damage taken care of on the right side of the 33 Great Glimpse machine. And he's heading back out onto the racetrack. None of the front runners are coming in. Let's check in with Vince Welch.
Well, Denny Hamlin started this race at the back of the pack, but when we go back to racing, he'll be on the front row right next to Carl Edwards for this restart. And Hamlin likes what he's got right now. Listen in.
Got him right where you wanted.
I had him.
Yes, sir. This time we've been waiting for all day. You're doing a nice job out there. Let him cool off here.
You heard Jason Ratcliffe in our visit just a few minutes ago talk about how they worked on this car all day long, and they have indeed, and they've got Denny Hamlin a good piece to work with at the end, just when he needs it, Marty.
And the first time he will start in that front row, so he doesn't have to worry about Boyer or anybody else pulling any kind of tricks heading towards that green flag. Of course, we've already documented that the 2 has been loose. Jamie, any new news on that car?
It's just worse. He's trying everything he can. He has one fan off now, one turned on to see if that helps. He said, what does this fan do? He's asking questions what he can do to make the car a little bit tighter. It's getting looser each cycle on these tires.
You saw the points differential there. It's 12, and we talked about the fact coming into this race, it was a 15-point gap, and he loses in the tiebreaker, so he actually has to outscore by 16 points. So right now, he has not done what he really wants to do, which is cut into it where he had it. It was down to 7 at that one point when there was about 6-8 cars between them.
Yeah, and heard Clint Boyer talk about his car getting looser with the cycling of the tires each time they heat up and cool down. So Elliott Sadler's going to face that very same thing. He's just going to have to dig down deep and get as much as he can out of this.
So as we get ready for the restart, here is the season the way it shapes up, and here is the interesting stat. On the mile-and-a-half tracks, they've each scored 333 points. The big one to look at is those 2 wins at Iowa by Ricky Stenhouse Jr., because that is the tiebreaker. That's why Sadler has to score 1 point more than Ricky, because he does not win in that tie-breaking situation. Lights out on the pace car. You can see Carl Edwards has selected the high side this time, so Denny Hamlin will be down low. Then in row number 2, it'll be Clint Boyer and Trevor Bayne, as Bayne is still looking for his first Nationwide Series win. Then Elliott Sadler and Brad Keselowski, and Ricky Stenhouse will start right behind. Alongside of him, it'll be Scott and Sam Hornish Jr. and Joey Logano round out the top 10.
If this all keeps playing out, we can go back to when we were showing Ricky Stenhouse with that loose race car he had. He did a great job of getting through that cycle, getting some adjustments made, and now he's in a good position once again.
And you mentioned it. Those are the championship-defining moments when you realize, okay, I just got to calm down, because there were 65 laps to go at that stretch. Pace car pulls off. Carl Edwards, as we mentioned, on the high side. The fans are on their feet when they come by. This time, there'll be 7 laps remaining here at Texas. Hamlin does not get a good restart.
Trevor Bayne, he was ready to go on that start, though. He was on Carl Edwards' bumper.
He's pushing him through 1 and 2.
And he gets down in front of the 18. So 2 Fords in the front row, and Trevor Bayne says, hey, fella, I want to get my first win in the Nationwide Series. He's going for the lead.
Ricky Stenhouse passed Elliott Sadler on that restart. He's coming.
Sadler's still having a loose race car issue. And the one thing and look at him, he almost got loose there again.
See, Sam Hornish has gotten by Sadler also. Have a battle for the lead, though.
Trevor Bayne into the corner. Carl not giving up on the high side. Here comes Keselowski putting a little pressure on the high side as well. Side by side.
Bayne's clear.
Stenhouse, and Trevor Bayne has got the lead late in this race. His career best finish in the series has been 3rd multiple times.
Stenhouse is racing Clint Boyer awfully hard.
Well, he is seeing what he wants, and that is the 2 fading in his mirrors. Trevor Bayne is seeing what he wants, which is a chance at his first checkered flag.
Well, he's making the most of it, too, now. He's pulled just about 2 car lengths on Carl Edwards.
And we mentioned Ford wins this race. They clinch the Manufacturers' Championship.
I think they thought they'd do that with Carl Edwards, not Trevor Bayne.
Well, I'll tell you, Carl has led 157 laps. And here he goes. He's under attack from the 18. And Denny Hamlin side by side.
Just what Trevor Bayne wants to see in his mirror. These 2 guys racing, he can pull away a little bit more.
That's Brett Keselowski in 4th. The 33 of Boyer is 5th. On board with Hamlin.
That move right there, Carl Edwards seen him get down the quarter panel of that 18 car, trying to hold him back a little bit.
And now Carl takes the high line. That's the highest we've seen him go all day.
And it didn't work out too good.
No, it did not. Boyer gets around Keselowski. So move him into 4th, and here comes the 6 of Stenhouse. And you can hear that point margin increasing with every car he passes.
Boy, how things have changed for this championship battle during this race. When Stenhouse was fighting his cars, you see him slide it off of turn 2. That gap had closed to about 7 points, and now Elliott Sadler's fighting a loose car.
It's 18 as we speak right now. What a swing in the last 20 laps. This time by, there will be 2 laps remaining, and Trevor Bayne is in front of Denny Hamlin by almost a half a second. There, you see the number 2 car behind the 20 of Joey Logano. Sadler struggling to hold on to 9th, trying all he can to at least get back to 8th. Oh, he's loose.
Yeah, he just got an extremely loose race car, trying to make the most of it.
This has got to be heartbreaking. At one point, I guarantee you he's thinking, we are looking pretty doggone good.
One more time.
There you see it. The white flag is out. Now, Denny Hamlin is closing on Trevor Bayne.
Yeah, he's right there. He's going to put some pressure on Trevor on this last lap. Trying a little different line off turn 2.
Didn't seem to help, though.
Might get a run down the back straightaway, though.
He can get a little bit of a draft here, but I'm sure Trevor's going to make him go by on the high side if he's going to pass him.
The young man who stunned everybody, winning the Daytona 500 back in February, coming through turn number 4. He is going to get his first nationwide win in his 77th start. Denny Hamlin second.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That was awesome, Chad. You're the man.
Edwards third, Boyer, Brad Keselowski rounds out the top 5. Stenhouse comes across in 6th. Sadler comes across the line in 9th. And the points championship has actually increased by 2 to 17.
But what a great job by Trevor Bain there on that restart. He was ready to go on Carl Edwards' bumper, got him a little bit loose.
Awesome job, buddy. Awesome job, son. Way to get up on the wheel there, man.
Third driver to get his first Nationwide Series win here at Texas, joining some exclusive company. Guys like Kurt Busch and Dale Earnhardt Jr. He has waited a long time for this.
Well, he's never been able to do one in a Nationwide car. I guess he's got a little bit to learn about how to get those wheels spinning.
I think he's stalled all of it, yeah. He's trying to get it going. There he goes. Now he's getting it going. Danica Patrick was able to drive her way up to the 11th spot on that last restart. So nice job by Danica.
Let's talk to that winning crew chief. How about it, Vince?
Well, a big Roush Fenway celebration down here in the 16 pit box. Chad Norris, congratulations on the win. How about that young driver?
Man, he done a great job today. We got a little behind at the beginning there, and we worked on it, kept working on it. It was really good, man. The Ford Mustang was so awesome today, and I think that the manufacturer clinched right there for us, so that's pretty cool. It's just great to be a part of Trevor's first Nationwide win.
Yeah, a lot to celebrate down here, Marty.
He led only 6 laps. Carl Edwards led 157, and Edwards comes home in third. It's going to be a frustrating day for Carl because he had the dominant car, but boy, the last 20-25 laps of this thing, we saw so many things change, DJ.
Well, that's why you got to stay around to the end of these things. It's so competitive. A lot of things change. What a great job by this young man. Yeah, he felt a lot of pressure because of all the things going along with Carl Edwards winning a lot, Ricky Stenhouse winning. He felt like he needed to hold up his end of the bargain here, and he did just that today.
Remember that streak of races that he missed earlier in the year when he had that illness that just sidelined him, and then when he came back, he was struggling, not having a very good time in the car. And then all of a sudden here, these last 4 races especially, he has been in the top 10 and now pulls it off with his first career win here at Texas Motor Speedway. We'll show you the restart that did it for him when we come back to Texas, and we'll talk to the winner here at Texas Motor Speedway. Let's talk a little college football because ABC has number 6 Oklahoma hosting Texas A&M, or you've got Purdue against Wisconsin. College football presented by Cade Jewelers today at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. Select games are also available on ESPN2 and streaming live on WatchESPN.com and the Watch ESPN app. College football lives here. High above on a beautiful, crisp autumn day where these fans have seen a heck of a race, especially in the late stages. And young Trevor Bain gets his first win, and there's Carl Edwards giving his man a high five. And Doc, let's talk to Carl.
Indeed, let's talk to Carl. And by the way, Jack Roush up here talking to Carl, and they're all excited because Ford has now captured the Manufacturers Championship for the first time since 2002. And Carl, dominant car today, 157 laps led. Looked like no one could touch you. But then take us through what happened on that final restart.
Well, I picked the outside because I thought, all right, Trevor's behind me. He'll help me out. And he did. He helped me all the way down into turn 1. And I wasn't too worried about him turning to the bottom. I figured if he went to the bottom, I could hang on him and race him. But those guys at the end, they were so fast on the short run. But congrats to Trevor. He is a great competitor, a great guy. And, you know, he could have pulled out earlier and put that move on me, but he made sure we were both clear of the 18. I just can't say enough good things about him. I mean, it's frustrating to lose this race, but I couldn't lose it to a better guy. He's a good friend. I got to thank Fastenal, Valvoline Next Gen, all the fans, and Ford. Today is a Manufacturers Championship. We wrapped that up with Trevor's win, so that's good. I learned a little bit for tomorrow, so we'll go have some fun tomorrow, but today's Trevor's day. He did a good job.
Carl Edwards, guys.
Snapped his 2 race win streak. Could have been 3 if he had gotten it here today. And let's celebrate with the 20-year-old in victory lane. Vince, it's all yours.
You can't expect at the top winning the Daytona 500, but I know this victory is oh so sweet for Trevor Bain. You've worked so hard for this win. So much was expected after winning at Daytona in February, but how good does it feel to finally get it here?
Man, this is incredible. I've had a good feeling going into this week all along, and it's been a long time coming. You know, these guys have worked so hard to get a nationwide win, and
It's just we've been through a lot to get here, and that ending there, I mean, that was cool to be able to go up there and race with Carl Edwards and Denny Hamlin for a win. I mean, we had to pass the best to get there. Ford won the manufacturers championship, which is incredible. These guys got me my first nationwide win, and I know my girlfriend's gonna be mad because I told her I was gonna win this weekend and she didn't come. So this is just I'm so pumped about it, man. This is incredible.
I know Chad Norris and the crew worked on the car, worked on it to get it to your liking. Did you think you had a car to win when you were going for that final restart? And take us through that restart.
They're about 10 to go right before that caution, or 12 to go, however long it was. I didn't think we were going to have a shot because we were about a half a track behind Carl, and we had just made a pit stop, though, where Chad made some really good adjustments. The pit crew did a great job getting back out, and, I thought the car was good, but I just didn't think we'd have time. There at the last couple cautions, I knew we were really good on restarts, and I thought we'd have a shot, but I just saw a replay in my head of pushing Carl to the win at Charlotte, and I was like, man, I was pushing him again. I was like, all right, we got to get this one, and we were able to pull it off. So really proud of my guys and everybody at Roush Fenway and Roush Yates Engine. Everybody that put something into this car, they did a great job.
Trevor Bayne, the guy behind the wheel, did a pretty good job today, too. His first career Nationwide Series victory. Jamie?
And a great day for Denny Hamlin. Gets the word he's in the 18 car, jumps in, starts in the back, drives all the way to second. But your back is hurting you right now. You had Kyle's seat in there. What was it like just jumping in and racing today?
It's tough, and a lot of drivers have switched cars and stuff like that, and it's hard to do it in things that are not set to you. And we have a total different body frame, height, all that stuff. So it's tough, but proud of this whole Z-Line Designs team. The pit crew did an amazing job. They picked me up every time I came on pit road, and it just took a long time for me to tell Jason what I needed to get this car where I would race it if I was here the whole weekend.
Heck of a run. Drove with heart today. Denny Hamlin second. Doc?
Well, Ricky Stenhouse, in the span of about 40 laps, he went from almost losing 10 points to Elliott Sadler to a sixth-place finish and gaining 2 points. Emotionally, how difficult was this day for you?
Well, there for a minute, it was pretty rough. We were a top 5 car all day. Our Sam's Club and members Mark Angus Beef Mustang was good there at the beginning of the race, and we made one small adjustment, and it went really loose, and we were about a 15th place car. We made that adjustment back, and then it was back to around a top 5 race car. And that last restart, I gave it all it had, and just got to thank Nationwide Insurance for this great series to race in. We got 2 more.
17-point lead with 2 races to go. Dave Burns.
And it looked like it was going to be a different story before the last restart. Elliott, you were ahead of the 6. What happened to your race car at the end there?
We just got real loose on that last set of tires. I probably should ask for an adjustment. Just proud of everybody on this race team. We had a really fast car all day today and running the top 2 or 3, and it's frustrating there at the end. This tire's just a lot different. I was a lot looser there at the end. I've been all day, and we gave up some points today that we shouldn't have. So we really felt like we could come here and make up a few points to close it in for the last 2 races, but we lost some. So we got our work cut out for us. We got to go to Phoenix and race hard.
All right, 2 races to go. They still can do it, guys.
And as we check the points championship battle, it is now 17. As at one point we thought it was going to be down to 7. Justin Allgaier does move ahead of Eric Almirola into 3rd. And what it means is now Elliott Sadler has to average 9 positions in the next 2 races.
Yeah, but we know anything can happen. A big unknown with the new Phoenix resurfacing and configuration out there, and then Homestead too. So a lot can happen in 2 races.
Yeah, Ricky Stenhouse really impressed me today with the car he had and how he fought it all day and was able to come back and actually gain points. So he did an incredible job today.
In fact, Roush Fenway had all 3 cars in the top 10 for the 4th straight race. So the Fords definitely on their game. How about the tickets of the race? We've only got 2 stops remaining. If you're anywhere close to Phoenix International Raceway, don't miss it next Saturday, because brand new configuration, brand new service. They've been working on rubbering it in. It's going to be very, very interesting. Throw out your book from last year because it's not going to help you. And then we'll wrap it up at Homestead Miami Speedway on November 19th at 4 o'clock Eastern. We hope to see you there. Okay, so Trevor gets his first win. A lot of surprises in the end. So what do we expect going to Phoenix now? Nobody really knows, do they?
That's the thing. Nobody knows. So we don't know what to expect. I can assure you it's going to be exciting and fun for us to watch.
Well, it is going to be fun. We enjoyed this one. This was a great one here.
Well, don't forget, NASCAR Sprint Cup Series action is going to be coming your way from right here at Texas. That's tomorrow at 2 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. There's what's coming up next. Our college football presented by 5 Hour Energy. Texas A&M versus Oklahoma, or Purdue versus Wisconsin. And there you see the congratulations going to the winner, Trevor Bayne, as he picks up his first ever win in the NASCAR Nationwide Series in his 77th start. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For our entire ESPN crew, I'm Marty Reed. Thanks so much for joining and spending your day with us. Till we meet again.